Welcome back to Real Phonies, where we combine a love of movies and television with not a lot of actual knowledge about movies or television. I'm your host, Joseph. With me is my co-host, Christian.
What's up?
In anticipation of us doing a review for the Bohemian Rhapsody biopic and kind of for the Elton John when is that one coming out? Do you remember? May?
Yep.
Of next year? We thought it would be a good opportunity to go through some of the existing musical artist biopics that are already out there, and it turns out there are quite a lot of them.
Yeah, there's a bunch.
So we're going to judge each of these movies based on our standard rubric, which is better or worse than Michael Bay's Transformers, which we've repeatedly asserted is the most mediocre movie ever made.
Yes.
Everything that's ever been made is either better or worse than Michael Bay's Transformers. So we got a good list for you here. What do you think? There are a couple different philosophies that I've noticed just in making them. Some of them are kind of like straight retellings, from beginning to end. Mm-hmm. Some of them surround the things that happen around the artist. There's one that's just real trippy about personality parts of the artists. What makes a good biopic or not a good biopic?
It's tough. I think we automatically go to the life that person lived.
Yeah.
But like you talked about, one of them is focused more on the characters and the music and ideals of that group. I don't think that one's necessarily better than the rest. I just believe that it's an interesting interpretation because I'm not entirely sure that imitation is always great acting.
Right.
It can be, but there is something to be said about coming up with or focusing these films based on more than the music than the life. Like, that's something I'd like to see. I feel like it's only maybe been done a couple of times. Mm-hmm. Most of them are primarily just these people lived really interesting lives and those stories deserve to be told. And they do. It kind of feels rehashed.
Sure.
We've gotten a lot of these.
We have gotten a lot of these. Also, there's the argument that the story we get isn't necessarily the life that was lived. It's
for sure. Yeah.
Specific ups and downs combined into a satisfying story arc that will end when the credits roll, but it is not necessarily representative of the life that was lived.
It's weird because I automatically always assume the lives are worse than the way the movies portray them.
Yeah, that's true.
But there are some of them where I do think and we'll talk more about it, but we're like Ray and Walk the Line, when it gets bad, it's just nothing but bad for a really long time. Mm-hmm. And you're like, there got to be moments where it was good. So sometimes I wonder if it goes too far the other way and just it makes the lives seem way worse than they actually were too, because it makes for good drama.
Right.
It's funny to me this has become its own genre and it's so popular. I mean, we get one or two of them every year now.
Just about.
I think probably only one this year, I guess, Bohemian Rhapsody, unless there's one I'm missing.
No, I think about one a year's right.
You can make an argument A Star Is Born is kind of that. But
kind of, yeah.
It's a movie genre that I enjoy, but I also realize the problems that lie within it. I know it's kind of played out and tried at this point, but I still go to almost all of them.
I mean, it's kind of like going to see a sports movie. You know exactly what's going to happen. You understand the beats of it, but you're still interested to see what it is.
Perfect comparison.
Yeah.
Perfect comparison. It is just like a sports movie.
Yeah. Well, we're going to go through them one by one here, and I think while we're talking about them, we'll start to elucidate more of these points.
Yeah. We don't want to give away spoilers, so we can talk about those problems more when we're into those movies. So we're going to start with one that I know you really like. I have not seen yet. Is Straight Outta Compton. Just came out a couple years ago. I didn't know you hadn't seen this movie.
I have not.
I think you bought this movie for my birthday last year. Or
I probably did.
Yeah. Or 2 years ago.
Because I know you like it.
Yeah, Straight Outta Compton, it's the story of NWA. I really like this film. Gary Gray, I believe, is the director.
That's right.
I don't remember all the actors in it. I know Ice Cube is played by Ice Cube's son.
Yeah, and he looks more like Ice Cube than Ice Cube does sometimes.
Now, for sure, yeah. And this movie, he's one of the ones that I like. NWA, I'm a big fan of late 80s, early 90s rap music. I was already familiar with their story, and I like the film's interpretation of it. Mm-hmm. Having Ice Cube and Dre be so involved in the early stages, I think helped play into the accuracy of it. Eazy-E's story is one that is incredibly interesting and should be told, and it's tragic. I mean, there's no happy ending for Eazy.
Do you feel like they tell it accurately?
I don't know. The problem is you don't know the inside. Right. You know what I mean?
I know that was one of the criticisms of the movie is that they kind of put a bow on it.
Yeah, it seems like everything's coming together and everything's going to be made better, and then Eazy dies. Mm-hmm. that's not my impression of what actually happened. So I almost wonder specifically, like, if Ice Cube wanted some revisionist history to make, not that he's the villain in that story by any means, but he definitely was the major influence in NWA breaking up. It makes him seem like he's the person who's kind of, well, Eazy's the guy getting the train rolling to come back together, but Ice Cube is like, oh yeah, you know, we should do that. We should. And then of course Eazy has AIDS and dies, but it's a very well made film. The music's great. I mean, most people know, you know, so at least one, you know, Straight Outta Compton. Most people know Straight Outta Compton,
right?
Or Fuck the Police, or, you know, there are a few classic NWA songs. And what's crazy about it, those guys made one record. You know what I mean? Like, they made one album, and they were huge. And then Dre and Ice Cube go on, and they just keep making hits. And I don't know, I really like this movie. I think it is definitely top of the line in what these films can be. We had never really had one about a hip hop star.
I was about to say, I feel like this is probably the first. I mean, they're definitely
Notorious. I think is the first one.
Right, but I feel like this is the first like blockbuster. Like this one blew the doors off of theaters when it came out.
Well, it definitely, like, you know it's good because if you go back and watch the Tupac one from earlier this year, like, that's not what it should be. You know what I mean? Like, NWA is definitely the bar they should shoot for. They shouldn't rush together and just try to throw something just because you attach like a celebrity name to it. But those guys, the actors did a good job. Paul Giamatti is like slimy and greasy and just like
as he always is,
a tool, and he just fits it perfectly. And I don't know, man. There's a lot going for that movie. I really like it. You know, I've watched it certainly a handful of times. I own it. I saw it in theaters twice. Actually, I liked it so much. I would like to see more in that vein. Like, I'm not like a East Coast West Coast rap guy, though. Like the music that I like is from that time period. So I would like to see more of like the birth of Southern California rap. Like, I would like to see, you kind of see like Snoop coming in. But I was
Lakeith Stanfield, I think, right?
I believe that is correct. Yeah. And he looks just like him in the movie.
He's got that same wiry frame.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I would be curious to see in NWA or in Straight Outta Compton, they kind of do this, but I would like to see a movie about Suge Knight. He's in the film, and you see that relationship they have with Suge Knight. And that dude, he still lives a crazy life that has just recently been back in the news because he killed a guy, and he's in prison for it. Like, I don't know that you could make a movie about him because he's definitely a villain. Like, he's like a real life Lex Luthor almost, and then he was trying to run this like media empire, and he could just do whatever he wanted, or he thought he could do whatever he wanted. But that would be one I would like to see. I think it would be really interesting because that guy lived a crazy life.
Fair enough.
Yep.
Is this movie better or worse than Transformers?
Oh, this movie is better than Transformers. Definitely better. It was one of my favorite movies of 2016.
I actually just watched, in anticipation of this podcast, the Bob Dylan biopic. I say it's biopic. That's a heavy quotes. Called I'm Not There, which takes kind of the reverse approach, whereas Straight Outta Compton, several of the other ones on this list are kind of direct historical biographies, loose biographies anyway, that kind of start before they became a thing and followed them through their rise to fame and fortune and success. This one takes a much more artistic, interpretational approach. So if you're not familiar with this movie, it was kind of famous when it came out for it's got 6 different actors playing different aspects of Bob Dylan. Several people that you would recognize. The aspects of Bob Dylan are poet, prophet, outlaw, fake, rock and roll martyr, and star of electricity. The poet is Ben Whishaw from
that makes so much sense.
No, he's fits it perfectly. Yeah. From what do we establish he's from? Cloud Atlas and
Skyfall.
Inspector, he's Q.
Yeah.
The prophet is Christian Bale.
That seems so weird to me.
Oh, this is pretty good. The outlaw is Richard Gere, which is definitely strange. The fake is a young black actor. Like, he's like 11 years old. The rock and roll martyr is Cate Blanchett, which I think I don't know if she was nominated or won an Oscar for. Pretty sure she was nominated.
Yeah, she's at least nominated.
And the star of Electricity was Heath Ledger. This was a trippy ass movie.
Yeah.
I think it would have worked better for me if I knew a lot more about Bob Dylan. So that's kind of the advantage of the historical biographies, is that you actually learn more about maybe an artist that you didn't know that. Whereas this, I think it would reward me a lot more if I was a lot more familiar with Bob Dylan's progression over his career, which I'm not. There are a couple of important. It doesn't exactly follow his stylistic changes. There are a couple in there the part where it's the young black actor is kind of specifically his really early career, where he's playing folk songs, but they're old folk songs from a time before he was there, and kind of his transition to this folk style about current events. And Cate Blanchett is kind of specifically in his switch to, the electric phase. Mm-hmm. But again, no one is about one phase. None of them are actually technically Bob Dylan in the movie. They're all another character that is Bob Dylan-like. It's very strange. Each one has their own little arc. Heath Ledger's one is like a superstar, and it's about him and his wife's failing marriage. Cate Blanchett's is very much about like criticism and like standing up to and being like responsible for what your music represents and the ideas behind the music. Each one has their own story, and none of them are really specifically related to Bob Dylan's career, but are in theory, related to like the spirit of Bob Dylan and his music. I don't know if it's a good movie. I don't know if I enjoyed watching it.
Yeah.
I think all the actors are pretty good in it. You and I were talking about this, and we're probably going to talk about it more as we go on. But most of the folks do like a Bob Dylan impersonation in the course of the movie. And I'm not sure that like works to its advantage. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it does. Sometimes I feel like it takes you out of the greater story. Heath Ledger's penis is in this movie. Wasn't expecting that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I just feel like, I get that Heath Ledger plays Bob Dylan in this movie. Yeah. But I feel like a Bob Dylan biopic starring Heath Ledger was a missed opportunity. I feel like he looks the part. He could have killed it.
Well, it's funny because he's a very specific aspect.
Yeah.
And his aspect is when he's like, on the top of the world, like already kind of achieving legend status, and he's just an asshole. He is the worst guy.
Yeah. But I bet he does it well.
He does. He's great. Yeah. That's one of my problems with this movie is I like appreciate what they're trying to do in that a lot of the discussions between the Bob Dylans and different characters is about like finding your voice, finding what's worth talking about, what your responsibility as an artist is, to other people, to yourself, what the words that you're speaking mean to you and your audience and all that kind of stuff. And all that's interesting, but it also like gets really navel gazing as the movie goes on, and I don't know. It feels like an art film, like a student film with a bunch of superstars in it. So it
kind of looks like what it wanted to be.
Yeah, I might actually say it's worse than Transformers.
Oh snap!
This is like right on the border for me, but I would rather watch Transformers than this movie.
I don't. It's funny because Bob Dylan's one of those people that I like Bob Dylan's music. He's always kind of seemed insufferable to me, but I like him as a human being. But I enjoy his music. This is before it's kind of stupid, but one night I was at a bar and the guy was playing and he was like, free drinks, who can ever name me who wrote this song? And he played Wagon Wheel or Rock Me Mama, and I was the only one that knew that was a Bob Dylan song. Everyone was like, oh, it's Hootie and the Blowfish. And like, no, like, and some people said Old Crow Medicine Show, and was like, at the very end everyone was silent. I was like, well, I guess no one else is going to guess it. I was like, Bob Dylan, and he's like, yeah, free drinks to that guy. So that's my one Bob Dylan story.
Bob Dylan wrote a lot of songs,
a ton of songs you didn't know Bob Dylan wrote. He wrote, but yeah, he's weird voice too, man.
Yeah. Oh man, that's my other problem. Is I don't necessarily like have a thing against Bob Dylan, but I don't like obviously recreationally listen to Bob. There's a fuck ton of Bob Dylan in this movie. Yeah. It's like everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, worse than Transformers. Did you want to talk about? You had a couple more that you were familiar with.
I think these are not necessarily. One of them is more well known. One was The Doors. It's about Jim Morrison.
It's with Val Kilmer,
starring Val Kilmer as Jim Morrison. The only reason why I wanted to bring it up is it's really good. It's really well made. It's a bit on the older side.
When Val Kilmer was a thing.
Probably pushing 30 years. I think 1990, 1991, probably.
Yep.
And it's a very good interpretation. I'm a big Jim Morrison fan. I like The Doors. I once got in trouble in high school because I had to write a paper on a 20th century historical figure, and I chose Jim Morrison, and my teacher told me it wasn't good enough. I should pick another person.
What?
And I still wrote Jim Morrison,
Good.
and she gave me a 0.
Aww.
Which is fine. I knew that was going to be, but I was like stick it to the man.
I know, that fascist public school system.
Yeah. The other one
How is Jim Morrison not a historical
She said
thing?
there wasn't enough out there about him, but I was like, he's been dead 40 years. Like, I don't know why, like, there are tons of books, there are movies, like, there's all sorts of stuff out there about Jim Morrison.
That's insane.
But, Val Kilmer kills the role, like, kind of. This is more of straight, while about like the definition of hippies and guys who really were big fans of mood altering substances.
Sure.
The other one was it's the Jimi Hendrix film,
Jimmy Always by My Side.
Always by My Side. This one is starring Andre 3000 from Outkast as Jimi Hendrix. Again, he looks the part. I'm going to say The Doors is better than Transformers. This one's probably worse than Transformers. However, it's a really cool original take, because while a lot of these movies are taking place over long periods of time, this movie is exclusively about when Jimmy was in England, which is how Jimi Hendrix became famous. He got out of the army.
He had a really short career.
Extremely short career. But for 2 years, he went and played clubs and bars in England, and that's how he got big. He's just this, black American blues guitar player playing these English bars, became really famous. Haley Atwell's in this movie as kind of like an obsessed girlfriend groupie type. It's pretty good for what these movies can be, but it's also kind of more on the cheap end. It doesn't live up to the bar as some of the other ones that we were going to talk about. But I just wanted to shoot them out there because I think they're ones that a lot of people probably don't know about exist. I don't think the Jimi Hendrix one got a wide release, and again, the Doors one's so old now. So I just thought if you're curious to see more of these, and these are two you probably haven't seen yet, you should check them out.
One of the other less traditional routes for making a music biopic is the Beatles. Well, there's actually been more than one Beatles. But Across the Universe is probably the most recent one that I know of, at least big one.
What's the first one? Sgt. Pepper's or Yellow Submarine? Beatles one. Because those are the three that I know of.
Yeah.
I think Sgt. Pepper's.
I think Sgt. Pepper's also.
I don't know. Yellow Submarine, the animated one. Who cares? But there have been three. There are probably more, but those are the three I know.
Yeah. Anyway, Across the Universe doesn't actually have the Beatles in it anywhere. Nope. It is mostly it incorporates their songs. It's got kind of new spins on their songs, sung by the cast. Is it actually sung by the cast?
I believe so.
And it's more about the times around when the Beatles were active and the way that the times influenced their sound and the music that they made. As the
times changed, so did their music correspondingly.
Right. Yep. It's got Jim Sturgis. Who else does it have that anyone would recognize? Anybody? I mean, Bono's in it.
That's the only one that immediately comes to mind. There are people that I recognize who are like, supporting actors in other movies, but Jim Sturgis is probably the biggest one, I think. I can't think of anybody else.
I can't think of it either. It's a really, really creative way to kind of tell us. It is trippy. And especially once they get to like Sgt. Pepper's stuff, it gets super trippy. Yeah. But like the
Strawberry Fields, that's a weird one.
The I Want You at the draft office.
Yeah, that is phenomenal. A great scene.
It's a great use of the song. It's a great sequence.
It's a cool interpretation of the song.
And so they met it. Did they meet at Oxford? What are they? I can't remember where they.
I believe it's Oxford. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. It's in America, right?
I don't know.
Are you talking about the Beatles, or are you talking about...
No, because I know it starts...
He's working on the labor yard or something, and then he comes to America, so it's got to be like...
No, yeah.
Yale or something.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out, because I know it ends where the Beatles ended at their last concert on top of the Apple building.
Yep.
And I couldn't remember if it began where they began or if that was...
No, I don't think so. I don't know for sure, but I don't believe so.
But especially as we've talked about several... so far, and some of the ones we're going to finish up with are kind of traditional, straightforward storytelling. It's a kind of a refreshing breath of fresh air to just have kind of a different spin on it, where you're not just, it's people you don't know, they get together, they achieve some success, they have some struggles, and then, they make it. It's a different story, which is, I think, is just interesting.
What I like about this one is, because I don't think people would generally lump it in with the biopic category.
I mean, it is, but yeah.
But it is, very much so, because it is, their music told in an almost chronological order in the form of release. It is very much the world in which they lived in, which most people don't realize. I mean, the Beatles were only really together for about a decade, basically through the 60s. It's a group of people that come together, have some sort of, peace, harmony life, and then everything kind of falls apart and they separate. Like, those characters in those movies are representative of, the Beatles. I remember this movie more fondly than I feel like a lot of people do. It's not like the best acting in the world. No. It's just a cool, different interpretation.
I think a lot of people didn't like the reinterpretations of the Beatles songs that wasn't sung by the Beatles or performed by the Beatles. Which, I can get how you'd get hung up on that, but I think the versions are good they're not like supposed to be replacements. They're just, interpretations. And I think they're used very well in the movie. So I don't know. I'm a big fan of this movie. I think it's better than Transformers.
Yeah, I think it's better than Transformers too. I've gone back and rewatched this movie on multiple occasions. Like sometimes I'm just like flipping through my DVD case. I'm like, oh yeah, I have Across the Universe.
See, we're getting to kind of the best of the genre here.
My favorite too, I think, are the ones we're going to end with here.
Yeah. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about the I can't think of his fucking name.
Johnny Cash.
The Johnny Cash biopic, Walk the Line?
Yeah. So Walk the Line, directed by James Mangold.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Starring Joaquin Phoenix as Johnny Cash and Reese Witherspoon it's Reese Witherspoon,
yep,
right?
It is.
As June Carter. This is a great movie. It's about the, hard life and times of Johnny Cash. I think what a lot of people don't realize about what you associate with the rock and roll lifestyle really started off with this like group of country stars like Elvis Presley, Johnny Cash, Waylon Jennings. These guys lived a hard life. And Walk the Line goes into great detail. Mostly the film is about how not only Johnny's fall, but the love that him and how June Carter was kind of like a lighthouse for him. Like she keeps popping up throughout his life and always the kind of thing that makes him return to the norm. And the farther he is away from her, the worse off he is. And I love this movie. I love the performances. Joaquin does a great imitation of Johnny Cash. But I think Reese's June Carter is just great acting. It's why it's hard for me to be like imitation is necessarily great, because Joaquin kills it. He sounds like Johnny Cash. Yeah. He delivers lines the way that you imagine Johnny Cash does. But like Reese Witherspoon, it doesn't even necessarily remind me of June Carter per se. It's just its entirely own thing, and she kills that part. She was either nominated or won an Oscar for the role.
I know she was nominated.
I can't remember if she won or not, but she is incredible in it. They sing all the songs the two of them do, which is something not all of these share, but it's a little long and it's a little slow. Like those are probably my two, hiccups on it. It covers probably 20 plus years of Johnny Cash's life, but
a lot of substance abuse.
The divorce and alcoholism and drug usage and just all the makings of one of these music biopics.
Right.
But it ends in a good place. It kind of, avoids the last like 30 years of Johnny's life, which is fine because he was mostly just singing like gospel music, and him and June Carter were having a bunch of babies. Yeah. And that probably doesn't make for great television. But no, I like this movie. It's better than Transformers. People should watch it.
My understanding is it was mostly funded and produced by his second family.
I believe that's correct. Yeah, June Carter's family.
Yeah. And my understanding of Johnny Cash is that he literally just pieced the fuck out on his first family. How do they handle that in the?
No, that's basically what happens.
Okay, yeah.
There is a little bit of him trying to have some relationship with his daughters from his first wife, but for the most part, once him and June start picking up, they're gone. I'm trying to remember who plays his first wife in the movie. I'm pretty sure she's a recognizable actress, but I'm drawing a blank. There are some famous people. One of my favorite things is Shooter Jennings plays his dad in the movie, which is pretty funny. But no, I like this movie.
I like that guy. Why isn't he in more things?
Shooter Jennings is hilarious. If you ever listen to him talk, and he's not intentionally trying to be funny. He just says off the wall, bizarre things. And I like his music too. He's pretty talented. But I will say, knowing that James Mangold made this movie makes so much more sense for the rest of James Mangold's film career afterwards. I think every trailer for every movie he's ever made has a Johnny Cash song in it. Hurt was in
That's so true.
Logan.
Oh shit.
Yeah. He's a big, the other was Scott Derrickson, I believe, was a big Johnny Cash, Bob Dylan fan. And not that Doctor Strange has that influence, but you can just kind of tell, these directors are definitely inspired by some of this music, and it shows in their movies.
So I think that brings us to our last one, which is what we probably call kind of the pinnacle of the traditional music biopic.
Yep.
Which is Ray. What year did this come out? 2000? We can look this up.
Yeah, we got a second.
2004.
Wow.
Ray, 2004. It came out the same year that Ray Charles died, if I'm not mistaken, because he saw it. Quote unquote. Right before he died, I'm pretty sure.
That makes sense now because
is that quote unquote very offensive?
Yeah, that's not great. But what's the Kanye Gold Digger, where Jamie Foxx sings the Ray Charles song in the beginning of it. So now that you say the date, I'm like, oh yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's got Jamie Foxx, who
goes above and beyond in this movie, man.
Has Jamie Foxx ever achieved anything close to like this level since then?
Okay, well, I think he's great in Collateral, so I will say Jamie Foxx absolutely has it in him. But like, we knew Jamie Foxx was a musician, but he's playing all those piano parts. He's singing those songs. Like, he glued his eyes shut. Like, I mean, he just went hard.
I mean, like, the vocal tics, the physical mannerisms, like, everything is dead on.
Yeah.
And I know you just talked about how maybe impersonation isn't the best thing, but this might be a perfect impersonation.
Agreed here.
Well, I mean, like, again, it's a pretty standard story of troubled artist, has a tough childhood, grows up, becomes a successful musician, success and fame and torture artistness gets him down, and then he kind of overcomes it, which, as far as I know, is not exactly how his life went, because my understanding is Ray Charles continued to battle substance abuse for the rest of his life.
A long time, yeah.
But the music's great. Again, Jamie Foxx plays and sings the whole thing, and it's really, really good. It's just, again, in the same way that we talked about how these music biopics are kind of like sports movies. You know the basic plot lines, you know the basic beats before you get into it, but you still like it. I don't know. I mean, this is Remember the Titans or whatever. What is the pinnacle of a sports movie? A Rocky?
Rocky's up there. I don't know. I love Remember the Titans, man. So, this was, I think, a fair comparison. Like, you know exactly where it's going to end up. He's going to achieve. He's going to get over everything. Like, it's all going to be happy. But this movie is great solely for just how fantastic Jamie Foxx is in it. He is stupendous in this movie. And you're probably right. He probably doesn't do anything up to this level again, but it's just a combination of, it's just the right casting, because this guy is already talented. He was a music major in college, and it's just a perfect storm of skills for him to play this character.
Also, the music's great.
Yeah. Who doesn't love Ray Charles music? You know what I mean? Like, it's perfect. The best part is watching him play piano, like, and just nailing the mannerisms of Ray Charles. But this movie's definitely better.
Way better than Transformers. It is the best one on our list, and like, if you have not seen this movie, it is a must watch. I feel like if you watch none of the other ones, watch Ray.
Yeah, it is just as fresh as it was. Like, there's no dating to this movie. It's timeless. I think it is a excellent watch. So, I mean, those are all, like, ones that are already out. Is there an artist out there that you think they should do this for? Because there's not stopping.
Yeah, so, I mean, it seems like for a lot of these, people have to be dead for them to be made.
Yes.
Not always. There are a couple on this list that's not true.
I mean, we're getting Elton John soon, and Elton's still alive.
Elton is, as far as I know, still playing. I know he's supposed to be on, like, a farewell tour, but as far as I know, he's still playing.
Yeah. I'd love to see Elton John live one time.
It is a matter of time until we get the Led Zeppelin biopic.
I just want a John Bonham one. I don't even really care about the other three guys. Oh, no,
you got to get the whole everything.
Don't get me wrong. There's so much, like, mystery with Led Zeppelin. That's the thing, I think, with that band is they're a legend. Like, there's so much shit you don't even know if it really happened or if it's just made up.
Right.
And it's such a cast of characters. Besides John Paul, the bass player, who's lived a fairly, like, normal, quiet life in England. Like, John Bonham died young, but some of the rumors about that guy are insane. Jimmy Page, like, people think legitimately is a priest in, like, a devil church cult thing.
Yeah.
Robert Plant wore the tightest pants in human history.
And has lived to tell the tale.
Yeah. Because they peaked so quickly. And, okay, so Led Zeppelin's a tough one in that Jimmy Page, already famous. He was a part of the Yardbirds. He was already big. He put together this band. That's how Led Zeppelin got big so quickly.
Right.
But they were only big for like 9 years, and John Bonham dies. They put out a bunch of records, and then they just never play again. They've played twice in the 40 years since then. And all we have is like rumor. You know what I mean? Like we don't know. That's what would make it so interesting is it could be total bullshit. It could be all lies, but it would provide us some answers into what Led Zeppelin was like.
Yeah, I mean, you could even do like kind of a fantastical take on it based on kind of the rumors. And, whether it doesn't have to be like a true representation, just kind of painted as these are the legends about these legends.
I like that. I like just doing a movie based on the legend, like the whole mud shark story where they, beat a woman with a shark and like we're having like, I mean, it's just weird stuff, man. There's weird stuff. But if you just made a movie about that, like it wasn't, none of it actually happened. It's just things we think happened with Led Zeppelin.
Right.
I would be so down for that movie.
That would
set to the soundtrack of Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What else do you think would be a good one?
I think Prince would be a cool one, just because that dude is cool as shit.
So you know the rumor about Prince and the movies, right?
What is that?
So I wish Jason Hurt was here to tell me this one because I'm telling it.
Purple Rain, I mean.
Right, but there's supposedly Prince has hired a bunch of famous directors over time to
tell his story,
to like make documentaries about him, and then he just stores them away in a vault.
Whoa!
So this is also, there are so many legends about Prince because Prince, rest in peace, great artist, is a real asshole. He was a real asshole while he was alive.
From what I understand, like pretty secretive too. Yeah. Like he kept a bunch of shit. He didn't like write a will or nothing. Like he didn't want people to have his stuff.
So there's an exceptional amount of, like, in the same kind of way, there's an exceptional amount of like rumors about his secret life that he keeps. So, and one of them is that he has this enormous film collection of, different documentaries about his life that he's had people make for him and that have never been released to anyone.
Wow. See, that's just more motivation to make a movie.
I know.
If you could get your hands on that. I'm trying to think of some other one. I think Kurt Cobain, Nirvana in general would be an interesting one.
Again, in the same way that you talk about how, well, you didn't talk about how that movie was great, but the Jimi Hendrix movie kind of works. Kurt Cobain also active for a very short amount of time.
Yeah, extremely so.
I don't know. For me, that works better because you don't have to wash over so much to hit the beat points. You can really sit in like individual struggles from like show to show, from like whatever. I don't know. Have we had a big documentary from like
a grunge era?
Yeah, from that era.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
There
either.
are probably a few that you could do too. I think Kurt Cobain's one that sticks out. Just thinking about the one I want most is Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
Because there's enough drama in there that we all already know about with Fleetwood Mac that it would make a good movie. Like, you took a couple of married couples and you decided you were starting a rock band, and then everyone just started hating each other.
Well, fucking hating each other.
And it obviously went really poorly, yet they wrote, like, they hated themselves the most when they wrote Rumors, and yet Rumors is
the best album.
It's so fantastic. I bought an original print of Rumors I found at a record shop in Nashville. I was walking around. I was like, I'll just go through these records. And I found like an original pressing of Rumors. And I was like, I must buy this. And it just felt like it just like sealed the whole Nashville experience for me. Fleetwood Mac, that's my answer. That's the one I want the most.
That's fair. And one of the ones we had talked about before we started the show, that now that we're talking about like how we get down into it, Michael Jackson might be impossible to do.
I don't know that you could do it well.
Just because, in the same way that all these other ones, you have to conform a specific story structure to like make a satisfying narrative for the viewer. Michael Jackson's life just went through so many
phases,
that don't relate to each other, but were just like so different.
They are extremely different.
That I don't even know if you could make one biopic about his entire life, because I mean it would just be so sad.
I think you'd have to model it two ways, and the only thing that comes to mind is things we've read. You talk about the Bob Dylan movie.
Yep.
Like you could do almost like segments. You'd almost do a Michael Jackson like anthology show and have a different person play Michael Jackson in each episode, and that's a different season of his life. Or you do...
That's not a bad idea. Michael Jackson miniseries.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to go about it. Or do like Across the Universe, which is a character or a group of characters are all supposed to represent a different part of Michael Jackson while playing Michael Jackson music.
But I mean, like you have to do Michael Jackson's a child, the Jackson 5, the Joe Jackson, all that kind of stuff.
There's a lot of story to tell.
There's so much. Yeah. And then you have to get into like his talent and like the way that he never learned, like he didn't know traditional music notation, everything like.
He had like perfect pitch.
He had so many like just innate musical, like there's just so much to tell there. I mean, between Michael Jackson and the Beatles, they wrote so many songs that that you may not even know that you know.
Yep.
But like, if it came on the radio, you'd be like, yeah, I know all the words of this song.
Yeah, it's annoyed me as people who I hear who say they don't like Michael Jackson or the Beatles, and I'm like, well, do you like pop music? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, so you like Michael Jackson and the Beatles? Like, you don't get to say you like rock and roll or you like pop. Even if you like country, I'm going to be like, everything you listen to on the radio is influenced by those guys. There is not a style they didn't touch.
Yeah.
And did you ever see the documentary? I can't remember the name of it. He was doing like the shows in the O2 Arena before he died, and they was just the rehearsals, like the documentaries, the rehearsals.
Yeah, what was that movie called?
I can't remember. It's fantastic.
Is it?
Yeah, it is so good. It's a shame we didn't get that. Like, there's talking about his perfect pitch. They're playing one of his songs, and he's singing. He just stops everyone, and he turns to the piano player, who has got to be one of the best studio musicians on the planet.
Definitely to be touring with Michael Jackson.
And he's like, no. It's this, and he sings the line, and the guy's like, okay, it's this, and he's like, yeah, you played this, and he sings it back to him, and it's just like, it just barely off, but Michael heard it.
Yeah.
Not only he retained it, sang it back to the guy, and then told him what to do to correct it. Like, there's just, I am big, you have to know what you're doing. Like, I'm a big person, you need to know theory, and you have to have some classical training, and I get that he doesn't necessarily have that side, but I don't think, because he was such a character, and there was just so much about him, I don't think people understand how good he was, or how naturally talented he was.
Again, it's, now that we're talking about it, it almost feels like too big of a hill to climb.
Yeah, I don't see that movie ever getting made. But
someone will try.
Yeah, if you gave me a 6-episode short on HBO or Netflix, I'd probably watch it.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea. But yeah, do you have anything else for the biopics?
No, it's a genre I really enjoy that does feel kind of dated, and yet always new, because there are always new people. There are always new stories to tell, even if the stories are very similar. So I'm excited to see the Queen one. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go on record and make a prediction that the movie is not good, but that Rami Malek is.
Sure.
Which I don't know if that can be possible, but that's my...
No, I think that can be possible.
That's my assumption.
My personal concern, my prediction is, the problem with this movie is the fact that the Queen guys were so involved in it.
Probably.
So it tells the story that the surviving Queen members want to tell about themselves.
Yeah, for sure.
Which I don't necessarily think is like the right story to tell, but I'm interested to see it. I like Queen a lot, and so we will be hitting that next week.
Yeah, I kind of hate that this movie exists for the specific reason of everyone's going to tell me they're a Queen fan, and I'm going to be like, no, mother trucker, you're not a Queen. Like, I was 16 years old when I got into like deathly into Queen. It was like, for me, discovering Queen was like discovering the difference between Taco Bell and like traditional Mexican food. Like, I had a taco before. I had Taco Bell. And then you gave me this thing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, it can be so much more. It was like an awakening. And so if someone says they're like Queen, I'm like, oh, cool. What do you like about Queen? They're like, oh, I really think, like, We Will Rock You is a great one. And I'm like, bro, let's talk about all the layers in Seven Seas of Rye, or if Live in Budapest was a better than Live Aid. People don't want to have that debate with me. Like, it's just, I just feel like this movie can't live up to my expectations. So I'm trying to temper them before I watch it.
Do your best.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna hate it.
Yeah, it's gonna be all right. We're gonna find out next week.
Yep.
So in the meantime, what have you been watching?
Not a ton of things. As we've talked about in the last couple podcasts, I've been reading a lot.
Well, there's one missing in the ether now.
Yeah, it says out in the cyberspace somewhere. I watched, I've read Prisoner of Azkaban and Goblet of Fire since the last time we had podcast. Both excellent. The only thing I really have watched is I started Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and I gave it a few episodes, and I couldn't really get into it, so I kind of given up. I may go back and finish it. And then I switched over to the other like Netflix October release, which was The Haunting of Hill House.
Yeah.
Which I really liked. I was a little surprised by the ending. Not going to go into spoilers, but it has more of a, I would say, like happier ending, or wrap a bow on it, than most horror stories. And not because it's resolved. It's just the lead character comes away with like a really positive opinion of his experience and how he grew and learned from it. And that's a little strange to me, but the show does a really good job of discussing like depression and anxiety and suicide and addiction, and I like the characters. I think the haunting is really cool. There's some cool twist within how the haunting happens, and there are some cool rules that they apply to their ghost, and it's kind of gothic in that it's, basically this old house that it maintains all these evil spirits or whatever. And I don't know, I would recommend it. I think people should check it out. It's based on a book, so I doubt there is going to be a second season, but if I would watch it if they did. Like,
I mean, look, if this one is successful, there will be a second season.
That's very
That's
true.
how it usually works.
And we know when they're not successful, they cut them, like all the Marvel shows.
Correct.
Yep.
Well, I mean, also because Marvel is taking back over the
That's true.
streaming service.
Go back and look at the ratings on them, man. They're real bad.
I'll bet they are.
Yep.
Is that everything you've been watching?
I think so. Nothing else is coming up. Oh, I rewatched Fantastic Beasts because Crimes of Grindelwald is coming out. And look, it's not great, but I enjoy it fine. The biggest mistake in that movie is making Johnny Depp Grindelwald. Colin Farrell
was fine.
He's perfectly creepy.
Yeah.
And I understand the whole, like, well, how would have Grindelwald made it? Like, you could have polyjuice potions. You could have, he cast a spell where he looked different to every other person. Like, you could have easily, he's very entertaining in that movie. I don't super love, my problem is I like Newt okay. The best character in it is a human who has no magical powers.
Yep.
That's like the hard part to accept is Jacob is like the best well-written and arguably the best acted. Like that.
Definitely. I would agree with that.
Dan Fogel is like, he's extremely entertaining in that movie.
He's very likable.
And, he can't provide any real help.
Yep.
And
he really doesn't need to be there. He's the best part.
Yeah. And it's really a detriment to that movie. And it's unfortunate because he also is what makes it great. I don't need such a focus on the creatures either. I think that's going to go away in this one, in Crimes of Grindelwald.
Yeah.
If it had just been one story, if it had just been that movie, I probably wouldn't have been okay. I don't think there's enough there to build a franchise.
No.
So that's really the deterrent. But I like that movie. Is
it better or worse than Transformers?
Oh, it's worse than Transformers. It's perfectly entertaining, but it's easily the worst Harry Potter movie, in my opinion. And I, as a person who doesn't like the first two all that much. Chamber of Secrets has gotten better the older I get, but
I'm telling you, Goblet of Fire is not a good movie.
Goblet of Fire is not a good movie. I agree with you.
It's a good story and it's a good book, but they do not make a good movie
I think
out of it.
Fantastic Beasts is worse than that.
I think you're probably right.
I will say this about Goblet of Fire. Going back and reading it, I feel like there's a lot in that book that doesn't need to be in that book. I think she kind of overwrote that one.
Interesting.
Maybe that one in Order of the Phoenix, but she's like a creature of necessity when it comes to detail. Like she incorporates so much that I just don't feel like necessarily maybe needs to be there in that one. But that's
world
just
building.
Me. Yeah, there's a lot of it. But you're already 4 books deep. How much world building do you need?
Apparently 4 more movies.
Yep. All right, man. What have you been watching?
I'm still watching Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Cool.
I think since the last time we were on this podcast, I said I wasn't sure about it. I'm definitely sure about it. It is great.
Yeah.
The first episode does not do the rest of the series justice, but I think I'm just about to start the 5th season, the final season. And
dude, I was so sad when they changed the opening song.
Right.
So good.
It's so good. I had that same problem.
Yeah. I don't know that I have quite been as attached to one in an anime series as I was to the opening
because some of the other ones are not bad.
Yeah.
But like the first one for the first season is really, really good.
Yes, it's fantastic.
Like both the song and the way it works with the opening sequence are great. Yep. And I felt the exact same way. I was very upset about it. But yeah, it's one of those shows where I feel like because it's of the animation style and like the humor, it seems like it's not as like, I don't know, deep or rich of an anime as it is. But like the more the story gets involved, the more you realize this is like, I don't know, you just keep like uncovering new layers to it. And it just keeps getting better. It keeps getting more satisfying. I'm super into it.
I like the dad a lot.
Yeah, Goenheim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also the narrator. And the narrator of that show has an excellent voice. That guy's really famous. I'm trying to think of what else he's done. I can't remember. But, we probably talked about this already, that Grog is...
Mustang.
Yeah, Roy Mustang. Yeah.
On that note, I found out that the Fire Emblem game that I play on my phone, like half of the Critical Role people are doing voices on that.
Yeah.
Matt Mercer's like 5 different people in it.
He's a ton. Reagan, who's been on the podcast previously, Reagan is playing through War in the North, and he's playing as a female elf, and he's like, man, this voice sounds so familiar. It's Laura Bailey. They're everywhere.
They are everywhere.
Yep.
I wanted to briefly touch on one that I talked about in our episode that we lost to wherever, cyberspace.
I think I know what happened, but...
Oh, you do?
We're not going to go into that.
Okay. It's an anime movie that me and the wife watched called Your Name, and it was like super popular. It's like one of the top grossing movies in Japan when it came out a couple years ago. It's a body swapping romance movie.
Weird.
It's one of those things like there is more to it. It's just super charming. Like the characters are really likable. The story is really endearing. You really want them to like, you know, get together. I don't know. You get really sucked into it. The animation's beautiful. It is a really good time. I really enjoyed it.
What is it on? Where can you watch it?
You can't. I had to rent it. I rented it on Google Play. And then for Halloween, because I felt like I needed to watch something appropriate, I watched the Korean movie Train to Busan.
Yes.
That's great. Have you seen that before?
I have not, but I've heard great reviews about it, and I know it's getting an American remake, which is probably not going to be as good.
Not going to be as good. It's one of those things where it's very much like a traditional zombie movie in the sense that, like, again, all the beats that you expect since, like, Dawn of the Dead are there, but the execution is so good, like the specific way that they shoot each stage of like the infection and the spread and the panic and everything is really good. And one of the things that I think is really the strength of it, especially compared to like most other horror movies, the characters are just really good. They're just really good, likable characters, which is so rare in any kind of movie, but specifically things in like the horror genre.
Yeah, but Korean horror movies are like known for establishing, one, great characters, and then two, being insanely violent.
It was not as violent as I thought it would be. I really appreciated the commitment to the zombiness.
Yeah.
The actors who were the infected people were really good. Again, like I don't think this movie is surprising in almost any way. Pretty much like as soon as you meet the characters and like you get the basic backstory, you know what's going to happen to them, when or if they're going to die, and like you know, like again, it doesn't do anything to like break from the genre. Like it's not inventive, but it's just a really, really high level execution, and you get really emotionally invested in the characters, which is not true for most of these movies. And so I really recommend it. I had a great time.
I've heard really great reviews. I want to check it out when I get an opportunity.
But I think that's it.
That's all I got.
So thank you guys for listening. Please rate and subscribe on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. You can, if you have any other biopics that we missed that we should have talked more about.
I mean, there's a ton out there.
There's so many out there. You can reach us at betterthantransformers@gmail.com. We are at Real Phonies on Twitter. We might be at Real Phonies on Facebook, but I will double check on that.
Yeah, we're going to verify that first.
But yeah, so next week we're going to be doing Bohemian Rhapsody. And thanks again to Zach Evans for art and Brian Velasquez for our theme. We'll see you guys next week.
Have a good one.